Coming up on this episode of Game, the Fragate gets ready for an audience with the divine in a world made with colour and space. We storm the school gymnasium to see just what all the cool kids are up to these days. And time to light the dragon fires as we cozy up with the developers of one of 2011's biggest role-playing games. Controllers at the ready, boys. This is Game. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to another brand spanking new episode of Game. You're with me, Kelly Latimer, and if you let me, I'll treat you to, if I might say so myself, a pretty epic half an hour. We've packed it to the brim with lots of gaming goodies, so what are we waiting for? Now, in the world of video games, more often than not, the main character or hero is a roughed-up alpha male, or an incredibly voluptuous vixen. But sometimes, just sometimes, ladies like me are treated to the sight of a pretty boy. So let's check in with our resident game guru, the Fragate, to see what he thought of pretty boy Enoch in this week's gaming review. El Shaddai.
It's the story of a man, known by 72 different names. What should I call him? When we first met, his name was Enoch.
Heyo, Fraggy here, back in full effect as we check in with a game which is looking to pretty much break the mold when it comes to the hack and slash genre. Now, in this crowded market of video games, originality is something of a rare find, but if you're looking for something fresh, you might want to just pay extra attention, because today's gaming review, El Shaddai, the Ascension of the Metatron, is about as unique as they come. Now, at first glance, this one looks like your everyday run-of-the-mill action game. But once you start playing, you begin to quickly realize there's quite a bit which sets El Shaddai apart. First off, there's the story. Now, this may come off as a little bit strange, but it's based on the Book of Enoch, an actual bit of religious text which was written long before the supposed birth of Jesus Christ. Now, in this modern-day retelling of the story, God sends a couple of angels known as Watchers down to Earth to basically safeguard and observe humans. But instead, these naughty angels end up creating their very own Tower of Babel, mating with members of the human species, resulting in some surprisingly cute unholy monsters called Nephilim. This, of course, angers God, who then decides to flood the world, wiping the planet clean. But not before his right-hand angel, Lucifer, manages to convince the Almighty that killing everyone just because he's angry may be a little bit drastic. And after a bit of a thin explanation, it's up to you, Enoch, to do battle in God's name to prevent the apocalypse. Now, looking at this title, it's pretty easy to see that one of the highlights, if not the best thing about this game, is just the stunning art style. Looking at times like a watercolor painting come to life, each different chapter of El Shaddai comes with its own unique look, ranging from lush landscapes to futuristic stages which feel like something out of Blade Runner. This unique take on the visuals also carries over into the gameplay, because while the bulk of this one is in 3D, the game mixes things up with quite a few two-dimensional platforming sections, which do a good job at breaking up the action. And aside from this just being a bullet point on the back of the box, the sheer imagination in a few of these sections often make up some of the best parts of the game. And finally, for a game based on some rather serious subject matter, I like the creative, stylistic, and distinctly Japanese design decisions which made it into the game. Enoch himself is naked save for a pair of jeans and some holy armor. Angels look nothing like they do in daytime television, and Lucifer and God, well, they talk to each other using mobile phones. Talk about long distance.
You know I could never say no to you. After all, you are the Lord.
Now, the main flaw to this one is that underneath its stylish and unique exterior, the gameplay at the heart of El Shaddai is unfortunately pretty ordinary. There are some pretty long sections in which you'll be doing nothing but running towards your goal. Reach your destination, fight a little, listen to a bit of story, and start running again. Also, you're given 3 choices of weapons: the Arch, a sort of mid-range slashing weapon, the Gale, a ring which shoots stilettos at your enemies, and the Veil, a bulky shield which also works as a pair of oversized metal boxing gloves. But aside from certain boss battles in which you'll have to switch weapons for maximum damage, whether or not to change weapons really boils down to which one you prefer. Now, all this would still be forgivable if the actual combat was compelling, but with only one attack button which changes your strikes based on how fast or slow you press it, if you like your action games to come with more than just basic combat, El Shaddai is probably not the game for you. In the end though, El Shaddai is a bit of a strange cookie, making it pretty hard to recommend for someone looking for a more conventional game experience instead of an interactive art piece to showcase. Now don't get me wrong, it's not that the game is bad, it's just that if you're planning on picking this one up for the gameplay, there are already a ton of release games like God of War and even Darksiders offering a much more complete action experience. Instead, the kind of gamer who I think will probably enjoy this one the most is someone new to action games in general, or a gamer who's just looking to lose himself in an amazing virtual world. Which is what I think El Shaddai is all about.
Outfits that would make even Lady Gaga proud. Thanks for that, Frags. We loved you long time. All right, chaps, I don't know about you, but I could use a quick toilet break. So go do the necessary and I'll see you back in a jiffy, because when we return... Spendthrifts unite! We're waging a war on behalf of your wallet. And we head to the tropics for a little sun, sea and domination. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Game. You're with me, Kelly, and we've still got plenty more to come on this episode. Now, in our next segment, it's time to take a gander at some of the best demos out there just waiting to be downloaded. This week, it's a little dollop of color mixed in with some strategy for some rather puzzling results. So, to begin, time to grab our maracas and head to the tropics, or to be specific, El Tropico. It's time for the Demo Derby.
Another fine day.
Brush up on your speech writing skills, my friend, and get ready to shape the future. Because in this edition of Demo Derby, it's time to kick back El Presidente style for some fun in the sun in your very own Banana Republic. Yep, that's right, the demo for Tropico 4 has just been released. A city building simulation which adds a layer of political intrigue into the gameplay. This one has you play as one of history's most revolutionary leaders, from Che Guevara to Fidel Castro. Or, if you're feeling up to it, you can even use the in-game character creator to fashion a dictator cut from your own cloth. Nice. Now, while most well-adjusted people would be hesitant at taking a job where their decisions would so drastically affect the lives of so many, this free demo makes the prospect of some virtual fascist fun pretty hard to turn down. Featuring 4 entertaining tutorial levels which take you through the basics of island economics, as well as a full level of the campaign, guide your adopted country towards progress, or run it into the ground by siphoning national reserves into your private Swiss bank account. It's all really up to you. With an easy-to-navigate interface which makes quick work of spying on the activities of the people under your control, if you think you possess the unique sort of sociopathic narcissism that comes with being a leader of the not-so-free world, the demo for Tropico 4 may be just what the doctor ordered. We can almost guarantee it will be less depressing than what's happening with real-life politics. Moving on, time to go into deep space with a newly released demo which combines our human obsession for grouping things by their color with a healthy dose of Rubik's Cube action in Critical Mass. Like a clever 6-sided game of Connect 4, the rules in this one are simple. Join the colored blocks to get rid of them before your box reaches critical mass, which surprisingly takes a lot less time than you'd think. A sort of new age 3-dimensional Tetris, making this experience all the more tactile is the fact that you can freely rotate the cube in any direction, making for some pretty twitch gameplay as you try your best to race against the clock. So, if you think you've got the speedy reflexes and quick thinking needed to deal with this 3-dimensional pain in the ass, why not solve this riddle before it reaches critical mass?
Critical Mass is surely a game that will get your head spinning. I felt dizzy just watching that. All right, guys, if you're feeling a little bored the next time you're heading out and about, no worries. Just grab yourself a laptop, some free Wi-Fi, and most importantly, remember this. Because up next, we reveal the best-kept secrets of the World Wide Web. Top titles for no money. This is Online.
Time to get schooled on this edition of Online. Take your seats, class, because we're about to reveal our list of the best free titles of the week, keeping you in the game without spending any pocket money. First off, one for all the pint-sized Happy Gilmores out there, as we explore the weird and wonderful world of mini-golf in Wonder Putt. A simple but oh so lovingly put together game of adventure putt-putt. This title looks to combine the grace of a good putting stroke, along with cows, torpedoes, ski slopes, and even some alien abduction thrown in for good measure. Featuring smooth animation, physics, and a wonderful soundtrack which wouldn't be out of place in a full-priced retail game, this easy to pick up and play title sure looks to have the goods. So if you're looking for a great little time waster that you can replay until the cows come home, give this one a shot at the address below. Next up, we turn our attention to a title which is looking to forever change the way we view our favorite platformers, a title called Sky Island. Now from the front, everything looks pretty typical, but it's only when you start looking at the puzzle from another angle that you realize that things are not all as they seem. With gameplay which focuses on the transformation between 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions, finishing this game is as easy and as hard as just changing your perspective. A clever little title with more than enough puzzling panorama to keep you busy for an hour or two. The cloudy vistas of Sky Island await at the address below. And finally, to commemorate the recent announcement of Trackmania 2 Canyons, time to pay homage and visit the game that started it all. a title which currently holds the Guinness record for the world's most popular racing sim. Trackmania Nations Forever is free to play. Available at a number of sites, including the Steam platform, for a total cost of nothing. This one is as free as they come, with no annoying monthly fees or microtransactions to cramp your style. Instead, what you get in your free download is a garage full of vehicles with country-specific paint jobs and a staggering amount of tracks to test your mettle. With stellar online play as you pit your skills against the world's best racers. If you haven't yet experienced the absolute thrill that only vertical bumper-to-bumper action can provide, now is the perfect time to get yourself connected.
With a combination of soothing music and a cutesy but oh so cool art style, Wonderpod is going to be my new best friend this week. And of course, if you're looking to try out any of the titles you've just seen, head online where we've got links to all the games. And remember, the same addresses will get you direct access to us as well. So if you get stuck, you know who to call. Time now to frazzle your brains a little with a few commercials, but stay with us because we play 20 questions with the minds behind one of the most anticipated games of the year. And we consult with the gaming gods to see what the rest of 2011 has in store for the gaming faithful. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, welcome back to the one place that shows you the ins and the outs of the gaming galaxy. Now, here at Game, we love our role-playing games, so it's no real surprise that one of the absolute top titles that we're keeping our pulse on this year is one that the folks at Bethesda are keeping pretty mum about. The fifth installment of a game which began all the way back in 1994. Let's follow Frags as he goes inside the brains behind Skyrim.
In development for over 5 years, Skyrim is part 5 of the award-winning Elder Scrolls series, coming to us from the very same team who brought us such RPG classics like Morrowind and Oblivion. And if their track record is anything to go by, looks like we're in for a hell of a time. So with mic in hand and healing pots at the ready, I caught up with one of the game's directors to find out a little bit more about the magic that goes into making a modern masterpiece.
And basically, the Elder Scrolls series is about living your own life, playing as you want to play. And so for Skyrim, we kind of went back. How do we rebuild this technology and rebuild this brand new world and make it feel like you're playing an Elder Scrolls game again for the first time? And with Skyrim, I think it's going to be our biggest, most beautiful game yet. We went back and we rewrote so much stuff. We made a brand new renderer that allows us to create these beautiful vistas. We created a brand new animation system. So the animations are smooth, they're beautiful, they're rugged. We redid the gameplay. We rewrote the gameplay's code as well so that you can dual wield weapons or spells. And we wanted, again, to trick out sort of these incredible creatures like mammoths and giants, creatures you don't typically see in an RPG. We kind of go in knowing we're going to draw everything. We're going to draw the trees and the leaves and the bushes, the mountains, huge cities. And so, you know, if you're in the game and you see a mountain in the distance, you know you can go and climb that mountain.
So, mountain climbing aside, we've heard a little about the stunning vistas, looking every bit like they were picked out of a Tolkien novel. But aside from the amazing terrain, One other hot topic was the return of dragons to the Elder Scrolls universe.
We wanted to create dragons in an RPG unlike you've ever seen in any video game. They're these huge, beautiful beasts who roam the wilderness. You'll be fighting them and maybe even talking to some of them possibly. We spent a lot of time on dragons, and we really wanted to create these epic, beautiful creatures. They fly around the world. They're actual creatures. They have their own AI. They're not scripted at all. They'll make decisions about whether to do bombing dive runs or to pick you up and throw you around, throw creatures around. And you see some of that in the demo as well. They'll swoop down and they'll pick up mammoths and set things on fire. And so it's sort of a more rugged, snowy wilderness and landscape for you to explore.
Awesome stuff. But if you're like me and a little bit of an old fart behind the PC, one of the greatest things about the previous games in the series was just how accessible and moddable the environment was, with gamers all around the world sharing their user-generated content, something that Ashley and the team behind Skyrim thankfully agree with.
Actually, I do want to say that there's one thing that we didn't change, and that is sort of the, we've been making games for a long time now, for 10 years, with Morrowind, Oblivion, and Fallout 3, and we have a lot of fans who love to mod our games. And we intentionally spent time on Skyrim making sure that, people who've been modding our games before, when we release the mod tools for Skyrim, you guys are going to be able to go continue on modding our games. We kept the old file formats, the construction set, the tool, the creation kit. It looks very similar to the old stuff. The paradigm, the workflow is pretty much the same. So we did not change any of that because we have this incredible modding community, and we wanted to make sure that they're able to step right into our new game and start building these incredible mods with our new technology, the new art, the new animations, and so all that stuff. Of all the things we changed, that's the one thing we didn't change, but everything else we basically blew up and rewrote and optimized, and it just looks great. So Skyrim will be available 11/11/11 this year on Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. So definitely check it out.
Some pretty intense gameplay and plenty of hours of enjoyment if you ask me. Now this one's set for release on the very auspicious 11/11/11, so don't worry, it won't be too long before we can finally get our grubby hands on this masterpiece. Now earlier on we made the girls happy with El Shaddai. Now it's time to keep the boys happy. So what happens when you give a cheerleader a chainsaw? Well, you're about to find out. Gentlemen, may I introduce you to Juliet. This is the preview.
And this week's tantalizing look forward. Time for some sweet seduction as we shack up with a title all about a normal schoolgirl facing some not so normal circumstances. Because under all that wondrous sparkle, Juliet Sterling is not quite your average 18-year-old cheerleader. One of the weirder titles on display at this year's Gamescom, Lollipop Chainsaw is a game which is looking to combine sexiness and violence with rather unexpected results. Coming to us from Suda51, the brains behind such monster hits like No More Heroes and Shadows of the Damned, this one puts you behind the pom-poms of a cute high school girl who just happens to be the last descendant in a long line of zombie hunters. With more wanton carnage than you can shake a stick at, as well as a saccharine sweet visual style as you tear through the zombie hordes, we'll definitely keep you posted with more info about this awesomely obscure title as it gets closer to retail. Moving now from zombies to something a little bit more serious, as we check in with the latest art/game endeavor from one of our favorite game design houses. From the minds who brought us the award-winning PlayStation Network titles Flow and Flower, this one is called Journey. An exotic adventure which invites players to explore and experience emotions not normally associated with playing video games. Awake in an unknown world as you take in awe-inspiring landscapes in search of a mysterious civilization. With a heavy focus on accommodating players of all skill levels, Journey features an extremely easy-to-use control system, as well as an interesting online component where you can share the adventure with a friend. Now, no word yet on a release date, but rest assured, when we know, you'll know. And finally, to round up our list of the absolute top titles coming soon to a console near you, the long-awaited sequel to one of the most punishing and best-loved titles of 2009. Prepare to die, because Dark Souls are looming near. The follow-up to the action RPG smash Demon Souls on the PS3. This one features all the same punishing gameplay which made the original such a hit, as well as more weapons, spells, and all new classes. Oh, and one more thing, they're making this one even tougher than the original. Yikes! Featuring a seamless world filled to the brim with some truly frightening denizens of the dark. If you're one for soggy shorts, mark those calendars for when this wet your pants adventure hits early October.
And with that, sadly, we're at the end of this week's episode. Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself and got a bit out of it. And if you'd like to relive some of the best bits from the game, just head on to espnstar.com/game for snippets of the show. Or if you fancy a bit of a chat with any of us or our gazillion fans, we love each and every one of you, then facebook.com/ESSgame is where you need to go. And if you're a Twitter addict like me, then twitter.com/ESSgame will have the ever-important links and crucial info in less than 140 characters. Well, for now though, it's goodbye from me and the entire team here at Game. We'll see you next week.